You were born cursed, with hands that twist the mind of any human you touch. A soulless stoops over the twisted form of a caravaner. The sensation of their thumb brushing the back of my hand sends a shiver down my spine. All it takes is one touch. Oh no! Daisy! Instead, I'll die, cold, alone, and face down on a desolate wasteland. I brought you to my clinic, of course. You were the only survivor from the caravan. I need directions to the Senubium. Then I suggest a local guide. Head to the Wet Wick and ask for Leander. There was no incantation, no spell circle. Leander must be an incredibly gifted mage. It's your hands, isn't it? My touch is dangerous. It changes people. Let's see it. Dude! See? I told you. There's really nothing to worry about. The Wet Wick is noticeably quieter. Without their leader, most of the bloodhounds have dispersed, or, in a few cases, fallen asleep beside their drinks. Got any rooms left, or did my lot grab them all to sleep it off? The bartender, who I now realize doubles as an innkeeper, slides a key onto the counter. You know I always keep the corner room open for your escapades. Ooh, scandalous. Leander's laugh sounds slightly strained. He's like, shut up. And I always appreciate it. But you're mistaken. This is just from my friend Espoir. Sure. Stay as long as you like. You two have fun. Escapades, huh? Leander clears his throat, then holds the key out to me. But I hesitate. My corn purse barely holds enough for a day's worth of meals, let alone a room. How much do I owe you? Nothing. Bloodhound rates. My treat, since you shared your secret. Food, drink, a warm bed, anything you need. Carefully, I take the key from him. It's small, but weighs heavy in my palm. I never expected to have a warm bed in Iridia, let alone free meals. Thank you. Go explore, Espoir. You'll find many roads in Iridia, each leading to different answers. And perhaps different boys. But if you need a reprieve from what haunts you, come find me. Just be careful. And don't forget to save your game often, 'cause you could probably die. I nod, taking one last look at the gleaming bronze key before tucking it into the pocket of my cloak for safekeeping. Leander gives me one last friendly wave before I depart. The air clings sodden and heavy. Without the morning crowd, the sunless streets look barren and bleak. Even the peddlers are long gone. Only a pair of crows remain, quibbling over stale crusts in the gutter. I feel a ridiculous pang of envy. At least they've got reasons to fight. I've never felt so lost. Curas and Leander both made it clear that the Senubium can't be trusted. But I came so far, endured so much. I need to see the Senubian for myself, if only to satisfy my curiosity. I should have asked someone at the bar for directions before leaving. Hello? I'm about to turn back when a shadow passes over me. A cloud, I think, until a puff of hot breath tickles the back of my neck. Scary. The shadow runs down the streets in rivulets. Formless dark spreads like ink into blotted shapes. Claws stretch. A muzzle splits open to reveal long, jagged teeth. A growl rumbles so low and deep I feel it. I want to run, to scream, but I feel trapped, as though the slightest movement or a single breath will snap the jaws around me shut. No, I won't let it end like this. If I'm going to die, I want to see what got me first. I steel myself and turn. Who dares? Who wants these hands? They're hot and ready. Not really. Well, yeah, I guess these hands would technically be dangerous in this situation. The shadow vanishes as quickly as it came. I'm left standing in the middle of the street, alone except for a figure reclining in the shade of a nearby stoop. Holy cow! Why is everyone here so hot? He's got fluffety ears. A monster. That much is clear from a glance. one that could nearly be mistaken for human were it not for the tufted ears, the tail curled around his ankle. Oh, he's got a tail. Or the dusk pink eyes with pupils that sharpen like needles when they fall on me. Our eyes meet, and the monster uncrosses his legs. His hair gleams a shade of red that reminds me unsettling of blood where it curls around his collared throat. Jumpy, aren't you? His tone is so light and carefree that I glance over my shoulder to make sure he's speaking to me. When I look back, the stranger props his chin on his knuckles and regards me with an inscrutable little smile. Didn't you see that shadow just now? It was massive. It moved like a beast. It was probably him. He's probably scared me because he's a little trickster. He's a silly little guy. Even as I speak, I'm aware of how ridiculous I must sound, but the stranger's smile doesn't falter. The only beast I've seen are the Wick's drooling regulars, though this did catch my eye. Oh! How dare you! That's my sexy key, room key! With a flourish of his hand, my in-room key appears dangling from his finger. It turns on its chain, glittering when it catches the light. My hands fly to my cloak's pockets and, sure enough, find them flat. He crooks his fingers, beckoning. Don't make me touch you. You're not going to like what these hands can do, sir. I've already taken 2 steps forward before some stifled instinct stops me. Something feels wrong. I'm still on the edge, thrumming with so much adrenaline that the stranger's shadow flickers at the edges of my vision. I always attract the worst kind of attention, but I can't get rattled now. Where did you find it? How'd you even find it? The key, I mean. What can I say? I'm a sucker for shiny things. He smiles wide enough to reveal pointed canines. Oh, I saw you drop it. You really should be more careful. City like this, somebody might take advantage. A bald-faced lie said without a hint of irony. I can't figure out how he picked my pockets under my nose, but I'm certain he took my key, and I need it back. I approach the man, careful to keep at arm's length away. He doesn't look dangerous, but the most deadly ones never do. The stranger's chain softly clinks with the tilt of his head. His ears flick. Keeping your distance? I'd be stupid to trust you. You think I stole your dinky little key from all the way over here? He gives an exaggerated sigh. I'm good with my hands, but not that good. Do I really look like a common thief to you? You look like a foxy. He's got me there. No, you actually look like something else. The sheer fabric of his sleeves alone would be too expensive for most street thieves. Heck, his shoes look like they cost more than I spend traveling here. And then there's the shop behind him. No matter the city, parted pink curtains only ever mean one thing. I'm not looking to buy, and I doubt I could afford your services anyway. Luckily for you, I don't charge. Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to stop as well. Just all of you. All of you are going to handsome jail. The man runs the tip of his tongue over a fang, and for the first time since I stepped into that shadow, I felt something other than dread. My face grows hot. That's not what I meant. I'm flattered, really. Were sex my trade, I might make an exception for you. How about half off for a handy? Sir! Sir, we just met. I've just known you for 0.5 seconds, sir. Or you could just hand over my key. Ask nicely, and I might even let you tug my tail. You got a deal, sir. Floofy. Just throw it here, so some spindly little street urchin can catch it and run. He raises my key and tilts his head so he can watch it dangle back and forth. I suppose I could just claim your room for myself. Not that I'd be caught dead slumming in the Wick with the rest of those slack-jawed imbeciles. You're obviously not from around here. So, tell me, stranger, what misfortune brought you to this wretched place? His voice practically drips with derision. I'm not telling you anything. What could have possibly drawn you to this dreary little pig pen, I wonder? He listlessly watches the arc of my key swinging around his finger. The weather's crap. The food's dreck. Dreck. I'm gonna use that word now. And there's entirely too many monsters for a human to feel safe. Unless... Dagger-sharp eyes flick towards me. They gleam with amusement. Unless you're just dying to consort with monsters. Well, I mean, maybe not that espoir, but this espoir is a certified licensed monster lover. By now, my embarrassment has worn away, leaving simmering impatience in its place. If this is a shakedown, it's the most infuriating one I've ever heard of. Flirt back! Give him a taste of his own medicine, ha ha ha! How do you know that I spent all my money, starved and nearly died in a swamp, just so I could crawl into bed with the first thirsty monster I saw? That earns me a burst of breathy laughter. He gazes at me under his dark lashes. Aren't you funny? Could you be any more obvious? I've been told subtlety's not my strength. So, your place or mine? I'd invite you if I had my key. If only I had my key, then I might be able to invite you up. His languid gaze glides from me to the key in his hand and back. Come, take my hand and we'll go together. That's not a good idea, sir. I don't know how strong these bandages are. The more he flirts, the more convinced I become that this is some kind of trap. No matter how innocent monsters look, they always have tricks up their sleeves. And something tells me that this one's more dangerous than he lets on, even if he has a lovely laugh. I don't know what you want or why you're messing with me. But I'm not coming any closer until I know you aren't going to attack or bite. I won't bite hard, unless you beg me. No matter what I say, he finds a way to twist my words into innuendo. Even when I'm silent, he goes on as though we're having a conversation, not a standoff. Do you like dancing? There's a traveling troupe performing in Hightown tonight. Their lutist is utterly exquisite, truly a performance to die for. There's life in this dreadful place, if you know where to look. You sound like you know the city well. Perhaps he knows directions to the forbidden place that everyone seems to hate. The man's gaze flickers from me to the key dangling from his finger. Naturally, this dump was little more than a miserable little smear when I first arrived. High town, low town, I know Iridia like the back of my hand. What about the Senubium? Do you know where that is? His smile vanishes. Surely you've seen it, that absurdly large tower looming over the rest. It's a little hard to miss. He must mean that spire I noticed when I first caught sight of Iridia. The Senubium's overrated. Forget about it. I can show you things those stuffy boars in their limp Richard Tower couldn't even dream of. I've already got plans. Oh? Have you some pressing matters at the Senubium? Lunch dates with librarians? Tea time with the most esteemed abbess? That's my business. What's it matter to you? I square my shoulders, and the amusement bleeds out of him. Your loss. The stranger, finally bored of his tedious game, extends his hand towards me. The key rests on his palm, neatly dividing skin and leather. When he makes no other move, I reach for the key, but as soon as my fingers graze smooth brass, his hand springs shut around my elbow. Hey, dude, you don't want to do that. Hey! Hey. He yanks me down, and I stagger, my soul slipping on the steps. For a sick moment, I feel my bandages will unravel under his touch, but he's careful not to disturb them, even as his fingers dig into my arm. I know I smelled blood. You reek of death in the road. And that fluffing doctor. Oh no. His voice, once silken, lowers to a smoky growl. The shadows around him seethe and boil as he pulls me closer. And something else. He murmurs against my throat, nose grazing my jaw. Sir, please. Let go! I try to twist away, but he doesn't budge. His breath trails down my neck, sending a thrill of dread through me. But just when I fear he'll bite, he takes a deep whiff instead. You smelling me, bro? His wide, flat eyes gleam with naked hunger as he gazes up at me. Not quite human. Not quite monster. Seems we're both. Is it Ver or Vere? I think it's Ver. Ver! The stranger's ears flatten, and he releases me with a short breath. I yank my arm back, massaging it where his grip left grooves in the bandages. The stranger twists around to watch a woman duck out from the curtains behind him. Her Senubium uniform is nearly identical to the one my mentor kept tucked away in her closet. I leave you all for, 10 minutes, and you're making trouble again. Will you quit harassing the tourists? The stranger, Ver, I take it, rolls his eyes and flashes the cleric a withering smile. So suspicious. Can't you see this is a friend of mine? A natural liar. He grins at me, and his tail swishes minuetly. The woman purses her lips at me, clearly unconvinced. I open my mouth to correct him, but Ver cuts in. I was graciously offering my friend some free advice. Though his voice remains light and cheerful, his expression darkens. Danger's drawn to you like a moth to a flame. It will always find you, given time. The woman clucks her tongue as though she's heard this recital 102 times. Word of advice. Don't take free advice from lazy foxes lounging in the streets. This crook will sell water to a drowning man for the sheer enjoyment of it. She shrugs off a wilting look from Ver. Oh, please. Any friend of yours knows it's true. Now hold still. Ver rises gracefully at her approach. He pushes his hair aside so it drapes over one shoulder, exposing the long line of his neck. And suddenly it dawns on me that the jingling I heard earlier wasn't coming from the harness attached to his collar, but a leash. A heavy iron chain wound around a hitching post and padlocked to the back of his collar. Ver posed deliberately to hide his leash from me. Oh. The woman produces a keyring from her pocket. She rifles through a dozen identical keys before selecting one and slotting it into the lock. Come on, unless you're friends tagging along on our merry little soulless hunt. They're hunting for solace inside the city? Words monumentally fail me. The woman regards me with a polite, if tight, smile before marching down the stairs. Ver lingers. He stretches his arms over his head with a yawn, and I try not to stare at the way his stomach flattens when he arches his back. Your little secret's safe with me. Try not to get yourself killed, Ver hops off the stoop and bounds after the woman. His tail sways merrily, as though he hadn't just lied and threatened me. Did you try that thing I mentioned? The Loventian knot. That's the one where you take 3 fingers and... Actually, don't tell me. Knowing you, it's disgusting. Ver's airy laughter echoes down the street. It's only after he and the cleric have vanished from sight that I realized I'm still missing something. Wait! Reflexively, I shove my hands into my pockets and find it, the room key. I pull it out of my pocket and raise it to the light just to be sure. A nagging feeling distracts from my relief. I don't know what Ver's game was or what he wanted from me. All I know for certain is that the Senubians saw fit to leash him, a fate I could share, if that's what his vague warning meant. I let my eyes drift skyward, past the lanterns gently swaying in the breeze, to the Senubian, faintly visible through the haze. Just one glimpse is all I need, then I can put all this behind me. This time, the key goes into my coin purse for safekeeping. That doesn't sound like a good place to keep it either. It's easy enough to follow the sluggish river that splits Iridia in two. A colossal bridge arches over the dark water below. I cross as quickly as I can, climbing ever uphill towards the distant tower. Hours later, legs aching, sweat beading on my forehead, I finally find what I was searching for. the Senubium of the luminous void. It stands at the highest point of Iridia, surrounded by cold white walls. Well-dressed people stroll down the walkways, paying no attention to the massive tower in their midst. I'm the only one standing before the gates. I crane my neck up and up until the top of the Senubium tower disappears into the clouds overhead. The gates are so heavily enchanted that even standing near them sets my teeth on edge. Alchemically reinforced locks, invisible sigils of alarm, and who knows what else. Knocking seems like a terrible idea, but I don't see any other way of making my presence known. I'm halfway up the stairs when something moves in my peripheral vision. A shadowy figure crouches beneath one of the white walls. They reach out and tug on a vine, as if testing its strength. "Oi, you there!" Oh no! The shadow vanishes as quickly as I spotted it, and a gaunt-faced man in a crisp charcoal uniform marches up the steps towards me. "Ah, another tourist! Get out of here once you're done gawking." A dismissive wave accompanies his equally dismissive words, and he turns on his heel without even waiting for an answer from me. I look back at where I saw the intruder, but there's nothing, just the leaves blowing gently in a cool breeze. I step away from the gates, hopelessness washing over me. "Hi. I don't like how the music changed like that." A whisper so close I can feel the warm brush of breath on my skin. "Ah!" I instinctively jerk away, but there's no one beside me. Halfway down the staircase, I spot a woman swaying in the breeze. She's gaunt as a rail, her blouse moth-eaten. I'm unable to take my eyes off her, not because of the way she smiles a little too widely, or the way her tousled braids look unbrushed for days, but because her eyes shine with a vibrant, unnatural crimson. I'm both entranced and unsettled by their subtle glow. These days you'd need a miracle to get in there. I'm unsure how to respond, or if I even should. I'm not going to say anything to this lady. That seems like a bad idea." After the experience I've just had, I'm not too keen on indulging strangers with small talk. Despite my silence, she maintains her unflinching stare and smile. "Lucky for you, I have miracles for free." Whatever she's selling, I'm not interested. My words come out in a tired breath. "No thanks." I start down the stairs, but she abruptly steps in my path. She turns her back to me, and before I can react, she slips her fingers under the lacing of her collar, stripping out of her blouse in broad daylight. What are you doing?" As worn fabric unveils bare skin, my panic is smothered by cold horror. A misshapen, sunken scar carves into the woman's body. Pitted, gnarled skin snakes down her shoulders, blooming from a gaping hole in the back of her neck. Ooh, I'm kind of glad that there is not a visual of that, ha-ha! A shuddering breath escapes me. The fluff! By the looks of it, the disease that afflicted this woman ate away at her spine, leaving her with a hollowed vertebrae at the back of her neck. She should not be standing then, right? How is she able to move or breathe? It's impossible. She shouldn't be alive, and yet... The power to cure anything can be yours. The power of the sea spring. The woman slides back into her blouse and deftly laces it up. If I've caught your interest, then follow me. It's only a short walk away. No, thank you, ma'am. Without another glance, she leisurely strolls down the Senubium stairs, loose braids bobbling behind her. The edge of her scar peeks out from under her collar. I stand there, wordless, until I manage to regain my bearings. It's a twisted miracle, but a miracle nonetheless. This could be the stupidest decision in my life, but what choice do I have? I take a final look at the Senubium's shut gates, then follow her down the steps. We descend from the highest streets, leaving behind their gilded decadence as we cross the river. The wet, derelict districts feel more familiar to me. But the crimson-eyed woman takes me further, then further still, until I'm met with an all-too-familiar sight. Did she take me back to the swamp? Oh no! My gut lurches when I face the open horizon. The city's outskirts are hardly recognizable in daylight, and probably safer for it, but venturing beyond Iridia's walls is a gamble I wasn't prepared to take so soon. This is totally a trap! This is definitely a trap! Keep going straight, and the sea spring will reveal itself to you. I bark out a bitter laugh, loud and involuntary. This is a setup! This has to be a setup. As soon as I step out there, some friends of yours will ambush and mug me. Oh no, they're not going to ambush and mug you. They're probably going to eat you. That lady's eyes are glowing red. If I wanted something from you, I would already have it. She says it so lightly, I almost believe her, even if she looks as physically capable as a toothpick. You're as safe inside the city as outside of it. Truthfully, the territory before you is the safest of all. What do you mean, territory? This region belongs to... AIs? This region belongs to Eyes. Most people know him as a gang leader, but he's much more than that. I squint against the empty wastelands. Only a fool or someone with nothing to lose would leave the city. Apparently I'm both. But if this sea spring cured her, I need to see what it can do for me. I set off into the wastes. Over my shoulder, the woman calls after me. Good luck, Espoir. I hope we meet again. My heart pounds with each step I take from civilization. Why are you doing this? And for what seems like an eternity, I force each foot forward, one step, then another, until a realization hits me. I never told the woman my name. Yeah. Something pierces the horizon ahead of me. A building, nestled into a tall cliffside, but so starkly out of place, it might as well be a hallucination. It drips with extravagance and honeyed mahogany, an ornate jewel of architecture. Ooh. A row of dark silhouettes stand out on the horizon. Trees, I think, until I'm close enough to realize that what I mistook for branches were spikes and jutting tendrils. Oh, soulless, several of them watch me in the distance like statues. Oh no! I don't think, I just run, exploding into a messy sprint. I push my legs as fast as they'll take me towards that decorated building. Flashes of last night chase me, the gushes of blood and screams of death, the smell of burning flesh and sour bile. I can't go through that again. I won't. The next thing I know, I'm dashing up wooden stairs and crashing through towering double doors. Just like, forget you guys. I gasp for air, my lungs burning from exertion. I'm desperate to be safe, but while I process my surroundings... Ooh, those look like a bunch of seals. It's more hellscape than sanctuary. Blood flows all around me, overwhelming my vision with a lurid, unholy red. Instinctively, my hand leaps to my mouth. But the rotten stench of blood never comes. Instead, a smoky scent hangs in the air, sharp and spiced. Ooh. I swallow thickly, convincing myself that it's not as gruesome as it appears. This has to be the sea spring, the place that grants miracles. Pulling my eyes away from the pool, I take in the rest of my environment. Oh, I see. It's river of blood. I thought that was a carpet. No, that's river of blood there. Tall pillars flank me, blanketed in written notes. Seating pillows scatter the floor. A rustic kettle sits nearby. Someone must live here, despite how eerily empty it is. Stay silent. I approach the paper-covered pillars. Maybe something here can tell me more. I reach for, the closest one. Why is that a choice? I reach for a note in front of me. It reads, Dear Mother, don't cry for me. I'm sorry I didn't say goodbye, but we'll meet again in another life. I love you very much. From Iris. P.S. If you ever see me, never speak to me again. It's written in perfect cursive. I've never seen such beautiful handwriting. Before I can ponder it further, a sharp chill runs down my spine. Something's watching me. I quickly set the note back, my eyes darting around the wooden deck, but it's still empty, vacant. Finally, I look towards the sea spring. That stillness hides something deeper, something wrong. Hey! I spin around and come face to face with a pack of soulless. Oh no! They chitter and growl, tendrils and spikes flaring threateningly, all different sizes and species but sharing one identical trait. Glowing crimson eyes. I knew it! I try to back away, but my heel teeters over the sea spring. I'm cornered. Watch your step. It's deeper than it looks. Who is saying that? That voice again. At the sound of it, the soulless freeze, their snarls quieting. Oh! I search for the voice's source and find it above me, lounging in the rafters. Oh! Everyone is so gosh darn hot, and he's got little horns. You look lost, little sparrow. His gaze is a violent crimson, one that sears through me, leaving me feeling raw and exposed. They're the same eyes I've seen over and over, first with the scarred woman, now with the soulless circling me, all bound by the sea spring's blood red. In the shroud of darkness behind him, shapes like massive tentacles twist and coil around the wooden beams. Ooh! I can't focus. The soulless's growls ring in my ears. They're not advancing, but that could change at any second. Panic rises in my throat as I struggle to track them. Hey! Eyes on me. My stomach rolls as I tear my eyes away from the soulless. Don't ignore someone who's talking to you. It's not polite. For a moment, anger knocks my fear aside. Who is this butthead? I'm distracted. Clearly, he's probably the one controlling these guys, so best not to be mad at him. I'm kind of distracted by the soulless about to maul me. Only on my command. I scan the soulless again. They really aren't attacking. Posturing more than anything else. You tamed them? Power of the sea spring. They're hungry, so they might bite. You could give me a reason to stop them. How about I didn't do anything wrong? Trespassing. And that's punishable by death? He gives a non-committal shrug. Expecting mercy was your first mistake. My voice stops in my throat. This man's tense coolness is both infuriating and terrifying. I rack my brain for a way to diffuse the situation. I need help! Tasukete! Onegai! Okay, fine. I need help. I thought the sea spring could cure me, somehow. My voice wavers pathetically. Honesty has never been my strong suit. He cants his head to the side, appraising me, but doesn't respond. I fidget nervously. I'm telling you, I came here for help. Are you listening? Your hands. Alarm jolts through me. I hid my hands under my cloak. Show me. Why? Won't ask twice. With a sharp huff, I reluctantly held out my bandaged hands. Are you getting off on this? Unwrap them. Heat rushes to my face, and fire to my tongue. I should give him a piece of my mind, but not when his soulless are one command from ripping me to shreds. Yet no matter how much I will myself to move, my body is frozen in place. I stand there for a long, agonizing minute. My hands are trembling when I finally raise them. I know the skin beneath the wrappings all too well, the hideous, unnatural flesh I've grown to despise. I grip the edge of the bandages. Stop. With a weary sigh, the man slides off the beam and lands with a thud that shakes the panels underfoot. Oh. He's a monster, with an imposing figure that towers over me. I couldn't tell how tall he was before, but he's big. Illuminated by lantern light, his features are stronger, sharper. Subtle clinks of metal accompany each of his footsteps. The closer he gets to me, the faster my heart hitches. What does he want? Is he going to kill me? I step backwards and find nothing to set my foot on. I'd forgotten my back was to the C-spring. I fall, right before a warm hand catches my lower back. Oh! I'm hovering above the C-spring, the scent of smoke and leather enveloping me. Blazing crimson eyes bore into mine. Told you to watch your step. I'm too stunned to muster a response. Like I weigh nothing, he guides me back to solid ground and steps back. Following a subtle gesture from his fingers, the soulless around us disperse and relax. The shift in their demeanor was so abrupt, it gave me whiplash. The enormous tentacles are no longer in the rafters, though now I doubt I ever saw them at all. Either way, I exhale a breath of relief. Thanks. As focused on me as he was before, the monster pays no attention to me now. Oh. He kicks some seating pillows out of the walkways, checks the contents of the kettle with a scowl. The sudden disregard is almost insulting. So, that's it? I'm not a threat anymore? Never were one. Then why'd you threaten me? People get honest when they're afraid. In other words, he was messing with me. I drag a hand over my face, exhausted by the fact that this is the second time a monster has provoked me today. Your eyes, aren't you? Depends who's asking. One of your friends told me this was your territory. She also said you were a gang leader? But there's no one else here. I thought there'd be more people. Eyes picks up the kettle and walks to the edge of the C-spring, then dumps out the contents into the endless red. Gang took a walk. His pleasant smile stretches across his face, ear to ear. That is an adorable smile. Aw. Then, in an instant, it drops. I get the sense that I shouldn't ask about his gang again. You said you came here for help. Depends. Can the C-spring cure a curse? Probably. You mean you don't know? Nope. I love how blunt he is. He shakes out the empty kettle and starts collecting stray cups, tidying up. You just start cleaning, my dude. Okay. I respect that. My frustration builds. I narrow my eyes at him in a questioning glare. When he notices, he returns it with an amused smirk. Stop smiling all cute like that. Are you being irritating on purpose? Listen, Sparrow. The C-spring can cure anything. Nothing's stopping you from trying it yourself. What do I have to do? Drink. I have to drink from the C-spring? My eyes glide to the blood-like pool beside us. The idea of ingesting the strange liquid makes my guts churn. It's not as if I'm averse to elixirs or decoctions. I've made my fair share of them, but one misstep, and you could easily meet with fate worse than death. Is there a price? Always. Eyes taps his temple with a finger. You lose it a little bit. That's it? Might have already beat it to the punch. My humor earns me an amused, fanged grin. This is a little different. When you drink from the C-spring, you forget who you are. Your mind combines with everyone who ever drank before. Humans, monsters, soulless. One big happy family in your head. My blood runs cold. I've heard of these before. Group minds. Some legends suggest that independent minds can be psychically linked together through a strong enough catalyst. It's never been done before. But something tells me this is real, even if one thing doesn't add up. Your eyes are red too, but you obviously haven't forgotten who you are. Or has he? Before I can finish my sentence, Eyes strides past me towards the entrance. Time's up. Let's finish this later. Wait, already? You barely told me anything. Came on a bad day. I've got somewhere to be. There are still so many questions burning on the tip of my tongue, but my frustration spills out before any of them. I was told to come here for help, but instead I got threatened and kicked out. You're joking, right? Watch your tone. I'm nice, but you don't want to ruin the host's mood. My skin prickles. The feeling of being watched washes over me again. My eyes dart back over to the sea spring. Better not be anything spooky scary in there. A lone ripple dances on the quiet surface. I take Eyes' advice and clamp my mouth shut. Eyes approaches a nearby soulless, a lanky, dog-like one with 6 legs and a crown of tendrils. Several sets of crimson eyes adorn its sides. Its forked tail wags rapidly when Eyes squats beside it. He runs his fingers through the tendrils, scratches its chin and pats its head. Aww. A gentle smile plays across Eyes' lips. The affection he holds for the soulless is painfully clear. I dip my eyes away, my stomach fluttering at the tender sight. It's getting dark out, so this pretty girl will guide you back. Following a short whistle from Eyes' lips, it trots over to the entrance, obediently, tail swaying. I watch the soulless warily. Pretty is not a word I would use to describe it, and the idea of it protecting me sounds absurd. If I decide to drink, how should I find you? Find someone with eyes like mine. They'll point you in the right direction. But think it over. Once you drink, you can't go back. It's a lot to process, but I give a small nod. At least I know I have another option for a cure, as disturbing as it may be. I follow the soulless at a measured distance and watch it nudge the giant doors open with ease. When I'm about to cross the threshold, I sneak one last glance behind me. My heart skips as I meet Eyes' eyes. I'm about to snap my head away, but he just flashes me an easy smile. Till next time, Sparrow. I'll buy you a drink for scaring you. I don't trust myself to do anything but respond with another curt nod. Outside, more crimson-eyed soulless scuttle about. It's hard to believe it's the same threatening pack from before. They chase each other in circles, roll around in the bog's mud. They pay no attention to me as the dog-like one escorts me away. It's an uneventful trip. Sometimes the soulless looks over its shoulder at me to make sure I'm still following. Dusk darkens the sky by the time we reach the city. The soulless sits and looks at me expectantly with familiar crimson eyes. I want to pet the doggo. I want to pet it. As nervous as I am, I carefully glide my fingers through the soulless's tendrils and scratch beneath its chin, just like Eyes had. It pushes into my palm in response, rumbling with a sound akin to a purr. The vibrations are soothing, almost healing my fatigue. Oh! When it's satisfied, the soulless spins around and scampers back in the direction we came, vanishing into the darkness. It's barely my first day in Iridia, and I've already encountered so many things I thought were impossible, tamed soulless being one of them. My head spins. Maybe I should call it a day.